Today's sponsor of the Vision Quest podcast is 920 Hat Company. Leather patch hats are in, and 920 Hat Company is here to hook you up with your very own custom hat. All patches are lasered on top-grade genuine leather and on popular brand hats like Richardson and FlexFit. Whether you're looking to show off your business or want a one-of-a-kind hat for yourself, 920 Hat Company can do it all. All the hats are handcrafted right in the Fox Valley, but worn across America. With over 500 hats in stock, they guarantee fast turnaround times. Honestly, Liam, looking at these hats, solid, right?
Yeah, they're pretty. I like them.
I like that patch itself.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, one-of-a-kind stuff. I know his name's Trevor. He does great work. He's actually gotten I think we got a knit hat coming.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, we got that coming. So we're really excited to have these guys on board as a sponsor. So get down to check them out on Facebook. I believe they're on Instagram. Check them out, man. They got the best hats, I think, in the Fox Valley, if not in the state.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. So get down to 920 Hat Company on social media and check them out. And we're live. We are live. So we are back with another episode of the Vision Quest podcast. It's a special day today. It's the 39th anniversary of the movie The Vision Quest. So that's I got my Map Monster shirt on here from Frank Jasper. So big shout out to Frank. I've had him on a couple times. And one more quick announcement. We have a new sponsor, Anabolic Army. Great pre-workout stuff. I've actually used a couple times. It's definitely good for pre-workout. Definitely gives an old guy like me a little boost when it comes to lifting. So check out Anabolic Army. They are on Instagram, Facebook. They have a website. Go check them out. Great pre-workout. You'll see some more about them as we go through the months here, and we'll get them up on our page too. So, but anyways, we are here. We are joined by a special guest. Precious, I'm going to say that I don't know. I've only known you from Bell. So when I saw it's not necessarily new, but when I saw it's Wieser, correct?
Yes.
Okay. When I saw Wieser show up, I was like, wait a minute. What's going on here? So I appreciate you joining me. I appreciate you taking some time out of your evening here to kind of sit down with us and tell your story, your sports/wrestling story. Tell us, I like I always tell everybody, we're going to start from the beginning. We're going to go back to when you were just remember sports, the first sport you played, all the way up to now, whatever you got going on. But we definitely want to kind of dive into a little bit of the ins and outs of what kind of made you get to where you are now. So let's start out with where are you at right now? Are you in California?
No, so
You're not.
No.
Okay.
I'm in
Minnesota. I saw snow.
Yeah.
Where are you at?
I'm in Minneapolis, Minnesota. I have a house right above St. Paul, Minneapolis area in
nice.
a small city called Maplewood. It's like the suburbs of the cities.
Okay. Yeah, I saw you were enjoying yourself in the California weather outside removing snow. Must have been a good time. Did you guys get hit pretty hard? Because we only got a dusting here. We got like maybe a half inch or so.
We got hit pretty hard. We got a good, I want to say like 5 inches, but I want to say that it was at a good time. It didn't start pouring down until like 5 and then stopped at 1 a.m.
Really?
I decided to, because yesterday was Valentine's Day, but I was like super busy, didn't have time to really hang out with my husband or anything. So I was like, what is the best way to show him that I love him? I was like, it's going to mean a lot when a California girl is outside snowballing the driveway and I still can't feel my hands and I have practice in everything today. I will not be doing that again. He doesn't want me to do it again.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Yeah, it's not fun. It's not fun. We got that. Were you around with because we had a huge, what was it, a month and a half ago? We had like 12 inches in about 4 hours show up. And swept right through our area. That was that. I mean, I've seen some snow, but that was I haven't seen that much in a while.
That's insane. I don't think Minnesota got it at all. This is the first time that we actually got like some snow.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Well, anyways, hopefully it's almost over with soon. It sounds like that rodent saw his shadow or something. So whatever he does. But okay. So let's talk about where you're from. Where were you born?
I was born in Watts, California. It's like in south central of Los Angeles.
Okay. Yeah. No, I'm aware. I'm aware of Watts. Actually, we have family that live in Hollywood, and we kind of roundabout ways gone through areas. But yeah. So okay. So let's talk about that a little bit. Now, wrestling not as prevalent there, I would assume. But what was your first sport that you remember growing up that you played?
Running.
Track?
Yeah, track, cross country.
Okay. What was what got you going? Was it you just kind of going to gym class, got into it? What was it?
It was because I was tall and I sucked at basketball.
Right to wrestling. So
honestly, we're all terrible at basketball if you wrestle. So
was it something that you tried out for basketball or just as a kid you're like, this sucks, I'm not good at it, I don't want to do it?
Yeah, I actually always tell this story. So my life is a little complicated. My upbringing was very hard. So as we go on and we talk about it, it's going to be like a lot of just like vagueness, and you can ask for clarification if you want. It's hard to like kind of necessarily plan out like how I went through everything.
Sure. But
my now adopt like dad that I considered my dad. He was my cross country, track, and coach, but he was a PE teacher. He served 20 years in the military.
Okay.
Great guy, scary guy. Like we all used to be terrified of him when he would come back from his jobs because he did the Army Reserves.
Okay.
So he was a basketball coach, and I tried out, and he was like, "You're terrible." I'm just joking. He didn't say I was terrible, but he didn't pick me, and I was upset. And at that time, he wasn't like my dad, but he was an important male figure in my life.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And he was always just showing me in ways that he was proud of me, being there for me, encouraging me, because I was actually really good at running.
Okay.
It came natural because of my long legs, and that's how I felt. That's how I first fell in love with sports. And it's kind of weird because where I'm from, if you're not good in school, it's kind of labeled on you that you might not be good at school, and you won't be able to afford college. So like most kids like me, we dove straight into sports. We had to find the sport that we like. That's my reality. Like I had to find a sport that I was good at, that I knew with my genetics and just how I am, that any sport that I applied myself to, that my body naturally has talent for, that I would be on the top of that. Like I
You
would be
need to
pro.
fight your way out. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think for me, that was track. Like immediately I was fast. I can hold strides. I would like get tired, but my mental was just a little wired, a little different where, because of the stuff I went through when I was young, I had a high pain tolerance and stuff like that. So it
Okay.
was just my way of, you don't have to think when you run. You're just focused on your pace. You're focused on your breathing. You're focusing on, like, running is my favorite. I will always be a runner at heart. It's the art of controlling and speaking to your body, but in a whole different way. Like your legs will stop working, your lungs will start going, your feet will give out, all those things. And it's like getting your body, mind over matter to, continue to push. And I absolutely fell in love with it when I was in middle school.
That takes some balls, to be able to go through that. I mean, I remember the track competitions we had for like middle school and stuff around here. I mean, I was athletic. I mean, I played soccer, things like that, but like a straight run, like I'm a sprinter. So to try and run a distance, like running 4 laps around a high school track, like you crazy, what do I need to do that for? I have no use for that whatsoever, So just listening to the things that you're saying, like you have to learn how to talk to your body differently. Like, yeah, your feet are going to give out. Like my brain gives out when I get so far into a run. Like I can't think, but that doesn't help the rest of my body. So that's quite a feat to overcome. So you kind of fell in love with it in middle school. Where was there something at a young age that did you win a tournament or like a race, a special race or anything like that when you were little that kind of sticks out in your mind at all?
Not really winning. That's one thing I guess you get to learn about me.
Yeah.
If it's not like since I was a little girl, everyone in class would be like, I'm going to be an actor, I'm going to be a doctor, I'm going to be this. And I was like, I'm going to be Olympian, I'm going to have a gold medal. So it didn't matter. I didn't know for what sport. I just knew that my goal and my dream to strive was going to be an Olympian and to go for the highest thing that I can get, which is an Olympic gold medal. And at that time, if I win anything, I'm not celebrating for a long time and I don't keep it because it's not that medal. So the more you hear me, I'd be like, yeah, I did.
Yeah.
Like living in that moment is just a stepping stone to where I needed to be. But memory for me, I remember it wasn't actually a race. It was they do those PE testing
Yeah.
here, and in middle school. And I remember it was the paster, and they were basically like, we have this record going this long, and it was a bunch of guys. And I remember I was always competitive, especially with guys. Like, I just love to think that like my body had no bounds. And one thing about me going through the stuff that I did go through as a child, the notoriety and being valued in sports was what I thrive through. Have some sense of just sense of worth.
Yeah.
And feel like I belong. So I remember I was racing this kid in the pacer. I went to Cole Middle School in Lancaster, California, and I remember just going faster and faster and faster, and then like I watched him break, and then I continued 10 more on top of that, and then I broke.
Wow. Holy cow. Okay. Okay. So that definitely, I mean, that'll boost you. That'll give you a lift, especially when it comes to knowing what you want to do or the direction you kind of want to do, go with something. So as you're getting into middle school, when did competition, I think as a kid, obviously you don't want to, it's a win-loss thing when you're young, but did you kind of, you had that reality of this is what I want to get to succeed. This is the path I have. This is the path I want to take. In middle school, did you already have your eyes and sights on like, I'm getting ready for not even Olympics yet, but like I'm getting ready for high school because I want to race in this tournament or this state tournament or things like that. what were your thoughts as a middle school kid? You say it was a little bit of a different upbringing, but as a middle school kid and you're trying to compete, trying to push yourself to that limit, what was that like as far as, what you really had your sights on at that time?
School was a break from what I was going through at home. So for me, my goal was, always being like watching, analyzing, and doing who I want to be as a person. So I remember watching Usain Bolt, and I had just like, he was the fastest in the world. That was like his prime when I was a kid. And I remember watching him, and I was like watching the way he carried himself. I watched him when he warmed up. I watched the way he ran. I watched his dance. Like that was my thing.
Yeah.
And I think for me, I just knew that as long as I put my best foot forward in everything that I did, that no one can deny me. Like when I think I still have, I think when someone asks you, what is something super unique about yourself, is me. When I walk in a room, I feel like people can feel who I am, and they know I'm there. Like I am a undeniable, present in the room that you can't, ignore. You can try, but I know you can feel me.
Right.
I stand out, and I, channeled that since I was a kid. Like when I got ready to I couldn't afford cleats back then, so I would literally beat people in just like either pass down shoes or like first shoes that you can think of running in. I would have to ask my dad again or see if I had a picture. I'll send you a picture, but it's like
ruse.
Yeah.
Running in ruse. Yeah.
Yeah, man. And
wow.
And that was my motivation. Like, look, I don't have a lot. I don't have the fancy stuff, but I'm still gonna dust you, I'm still gonna put my best foot forward. So like when I got on there, I could feel like I wanted everyone to feel my presence, like feel me there, like I'm there, whether I won or lost. Like that's the thing about me, is whether I win or lose, I just want to know that I had been there, part of that history. Like you're not going to be able to think of women's wrestling in college wrestling or, senior national team with 76 without, having my name pop up.
Mm-hmm. For sure. So you speak about presence. How tall are you?
I'm 6 foot.
You're 6 foot. Okay. Yeah. So now how tall were you in middle school?
I was tall.
You were tall.
I don't remember, but I know I was 5'8", wearing a size 9.5 10 shoe when I was in 7th grade. Yeah. I always been a tall girl.
Okay, so it's like you had like 2 inches left after that. Things kind of paused. So that gave to me, now I'm not a runner, so I don't know everything. To me, you already have an advantage out the gate, right? You're 5'8", wearing a size 10, whatever, 8, 10.
Yeah.
So your size tells me that you should be able to school kids. Now I know there's technique to running, so it's not just going out there and just sprinting as fast as you can. You guys obviously put some work in. Were you practicing a lot? Because again, talking about how your upbringing was, were you practicing? And school was important, but were you also at school an extra 4 hours so you could practice and really hammer things home? Because I can only imagine you, if you're putting that much work into it, you were destroying kids, so.
Yeah. No, actually, I wasn't. That's why I was so. Say hi, Scotty. So rude.
That's awesome. Perfect timing.
Oh my gosh,
it's good. It's good.
This is my hairless cat. He's attached to me, but
whatever. He can be part of the story. That's fine.
Yeah. So basically, just my home life wasn't so good, and it was very strict at times, and I couldn't, have more freedom to do things. So I didn't have those opportunities to basically, get that extra practice. And that's what video was for me, like watching Usain Bolt, doing those things, talking about it. Like I always been someone that like believe that if you talk about it and you say it, my mind believes it, my body believes it, my spirit believes it. And all I need is for my spirit to believe it, and then my body will do the work.
I was going to say, so you putting the homework in and like you said, watching video and kind of, obviously you want to gravitate. I mean, I gravitated towards Pele and like Diego Maradona and things like that, because those guys are my idols. So did the same thing. Now I went out and I always did the same old story. I only had a curb and a garage door and a Yorkshire Terrier to chase me around for defense. But at the same point though, too, when you're watching video and things like that, you're really kind of living off the visualization of it, which, speaking and then believing in what you're doing, that kind of rolls into a little bit more of the wrestling life too, as far as what you have to do and get to that point. But where do you start to go as you're getting into middle school and high school? What are you still in track? How long do you stick with track?
So this is where, like, I guess part of my testimony comes out about like the person that I am and like a lot of the stuff that I went through. The transition from middle school to high school was a very hard time in my life. I grew up in foster care, in and out of foster care. So I grew up with my family, but then got taken away and then went back, got taken away again. So I went back and forth between those. And after middle school, I graduated and I was going for college because, in summer you go to those, you get ready to go to the basically introduction of what you want to do. You go to your classes.
Oh, yeah.
And all of that summer stuff. So like
orientation.
Yes. Yeah. I started color guard. I started all those things. And then I ended up running away from home. And like getting ready to go to high school, I just couldn't take the all respect to my mom. She was young,
sure.
And all that, but I couldn't take the abuse I was going through anymore. I was abused a lot when I was a kid. And I think it's hard for me to say, not because it hurts me, but because I just don't like, putting that bad light on my mom.
Sure.
God knows
Understood
what she was going through, and that also just puts my siblings in a weird funk, But to be true to my story, yes, I was abused, and it was really bad, and I was just tired of getting beat down. Like in my household, it was kind of like, since I was the eldest girl, I had to do most of all the work. My mom would do the cooking, the cleaning. It became my responsibility. And she was a single mom, so she was doing the responsibilities that a man was doing, So I think she was a little hard on me because she was very stressed and going through all of those things. It's not an excuse for what she put me through. There's levels to things. She did cross the level. But I can understand why she did it, because at sometimes when you're just going through a lot, you can break and not even disconnect and know who you are in that moment. So I don't blame her for anything. I wouldn't be a strong woman without her. But yes, I ran away from home, and that was my final time. Taken away for a lot of things, and I was a sexual abuse survivor too. So I think by the time I was, I graduated middle school in 2012. So I was 15. By 15, I went through so much. I had so much weight on my shoulders, and I was just really done with that. And being at home, it was kind of like, you didn't do this, you didn't do that. Like, you're not going to do sports. Like, the way of punishing me was taking opportunities away from me that I believed that would me, super successful in the future. And I understand if it was something I was doing bad, but it was just like, you didn't do the dishes, and she was frustrated.
Yeah.
You don't get to go to this or do this. And you can't be doing, like, in my opinion, you can't be doing that to kids.
Right.
You can't be doing that at all. Like, you can't punish your kids for having responsibilities that's honestly supposed to be yours. And I'm not saying just chores. I don't need to go into details, because it was many other things that was there. People that know me know what I went through. But I lost all love for running. I stopped running. I completely was depressed. I went to foster home. I started smoking weed. I started getting into drugs. I started to be very promiscuous. It happens when you're 15 and you go home to home. And when you're in those homes, it's kind of like where you are is not really your home. You're a visitor. So holidays don't feel the same. You deal with the hurt that your family is going through, and you go through. I went through just so much, and I lost myself. I blame myself for most things, even though it wasn't my fault. I, had an identity crisis because the things that I knew just wasn't there. And then when I went from being like strict, you do this, or you get ass beat, it was like, you're not my kid, do what you want.
Yeah, it's kind of
like
free reign,
yeah, bet. I was
yeah.
Like, I'm gonna try that. I'm gonna try this
for sure.
That's
the name of the game when you're at that age, for sure. Yeah.
Yeah. So I was like just doing all of that stuff, and I'm not proud of it, but it did make me wiser when I got to college. I didn't have the problems that the girls had.
Sure.
In college, I knew how to hold my own. I didn't care for partying as much. I did party, but it wasn't like something that affected my training because I got to do that so young.
Yeah.
But the point of that was I went to foster home, went through things, was fighting. I went to 4 high schools in a year, 4. I went to Eastside, but then I ran away. So then I went to Palmdale, then I went to P-Night. Then from P-Night, I went back to Palmdale, back to Eastside. Yeah, and now and my credits were messed up, my grades were messed up. I think I had like a 0.5. It was bad. I was just a mess. I got put in a level 12 group home, which means that you live in a house with 6 other girls that pretty much went through the same thing as you or worse, and you share a room with one. And we're confined in the house. You have staff that come in and out of the house and have shifts. You have chores. So like the basic things that you think people will get, like when you're that age in high school, you get a phone, because you need to communicate, you get clothes. No, those things were earned. You get an allowance. If you want a phone, it's from the money that you saved from your allowance from the state.
How old were you when you were there?
I was 16 when I was there.
Okay, gotcha.
And I basically, like if you wanted a phone, you paid your own phone bill. Like you had responsibilities as an adult young. So I started taking care of myself at 15.
Well, you had to grow up pretty quick, man. I mean, that's just aside from what you were already going through, but then having to. I mean, you're earning. They're trying to teach you something at the same time, but at the thoughts of we talk about just when kids are talking about going to college, they're 17, 18, and they're going to make a 5-year decision. You're here 15, 16, and you're faced with the reality already of, if I want this, I have to get it. And I don't know what kind of guiding hands are at that place, but it doesn't sound like it's, the most, fun situation to be in, especially at 15, 16. And so were the people you were with that were your age, were you able to connect with someone and kind of, be able to have some type of a connection with anybody going through that?
I feel like when you're going through so much pain, the connection is through the indulgence of, things that we're using to fill our voids.
Sure.
And sometimes we fucking hate each other.
Yeah.
Let's be honest.
Yeah.
Like you live in the house with these girls, and we weren't allowed to go outside. If you wanted to go outside, it was in your backyard, and our backyard wasn't that big. And if you wanted to go out with friends, your friends' parents had to come, show their ID, sign a paper to sign you out, and you had 2 hours. So we were confined in that house. I was lucky because I was at a really good group home, even those with those strict rules. Like once I got into sports, and I'll go into that, back into sports, they bought me a treadmill so I could get my anger out because I was fighting a lot. Like my way of communication was the way that I was treated when it was time to communicate, which was, violence. So all I knew is when you made me angry, I'm gonna punch you in the face. And at first that's like a tough thing, people get scared of you, but after a while it just shows how weak you actually are. Like the way that I feel that I can resolve my problems is I need to punch someone. I can't use words, So So as much as I felt strong in that moment, I was a very weak person, and was just going through a ton of stuff. The staff at my group home, I feel like, again, the whole presence things, I think they knew my heart. They knew who I was, even if I was saying the opposite of what I meant. They knew just what I was struggling with, what I was battling with. And I still have contact with them now, and I appreciate everything that they have done for me, because that helped me fall in love with wrestling. And I started wrestling when I was in my group home.
It's hard to forget that presence, though, too. When the situations you kind of touched on that make things that hard in life, and then you have people that, I mean, I'm sure there were moments of tough love kind of situations, but more of a lesson learned type thing instead of a fear type situation. Were you able to? It sounds like you were able to learn a lot, at least from that, and then it sounds like it's going to maybe carry you through wrestling and get you into wrestling. So how did that pop up while you're going through this?
Yeah, I was. Oh God. So the whole thing was you can't have a cell phone unless you basically buy it. I was tired of using the house line. That's when the house line was big, like everyone was like, give me your number, I'll use the house phone, and we have to share, and I was tired of sharing. I wanted to text. I like at a time. And I just wanted to be in contact with my friends in Palmdale more than not having any internet and have to borrow one of my roommate's phone and stuff like that. So I saved up my allowance. I was good. I bit my tongue, which was hard for me. So I started fighting. I just walked away and Scotty. and I saved up enough money for 2 months of the phone bill, but then also I had saved up for the phone. And that's what is that? Not Cricket. I forgot what the other
Boost.
Mm-mm.
No, I don't know. There's a couple of them. It's hard to remember those.
Yeah, it is. Well, I'll probably remember later. I set my money on the table when we got ready. She was like, "We're gonna have an outing. We're gonna, goodness gracious, Scotty, we're gonna go." Basically to the store, because everything we did, we had to do as a group. So I put my money on the freaking table for 1 second to go potty, and I came back and it was gone. No one knew. And again, we don't have privacy in this group home. We have cameras in the living room, but we just don't have cameras in our bedrooms or bathroom. So, but where I put the money like an idiot is where you can't see it in the camera. So, who stole it? So I was bummed. I was like, somebody stole it. I just stopped talking to everyone.
Yeah.
I was like, now I don't have a freaking phone. And I found out because one of the girls, all of a sudden, she just got all the snacks, all the stuff. And I'm like, where's she getting this money from?
Yeah, right.
But she was the same one that was, she was basically the same one that was helping me look for it. So it was like, it's no way that she's the one that did it because she was helping me look for it. I was like, this heifer, like, it's no way she did it.
It's a good way to hide it.
She did it. But the way she told me was she told me when we were in the car on the way to school. And then I think she spit on me too, and I fucking lost it. I lost it.
Whoa!
Yeah, I got kicked out the car. I got kicked out the car. And I just remember banging, like just trying to get into the car. The security guard was there. I was like, I don't need to get in trouble. So I just went to class. And then that same day, I was like, I just need something to get energy out. I need to get energy out. I need to get energy out. I need to get energy out. So I was like sitting in homeroom. I was pissed. I was crying. I was like, I just freaking hate this. I'm vulnerable. Like, I don't know what else to do. I'm pretty sure I was depressed for a very long time. And I heard wrestling. And I was like, I was like, no females are going to be in wrestling. So I'm like, I think that's where I need to be. And I went to tryouts that same day. I went to the office, called the group home, asked them if I can get clearance to go to wrestling practice. They just checked to make sure that it was actual wrestling practice that day. And then I got clearance to go. I got my oh, I got freaking dragged. Like, I remember they're like, how much you weigh? I was like 152, and I'm like 6 foot 152. I'm a very lean girl.
Yeah.
And I just remember going against a 151. I think that weight class like 154 in high school, and I just I just remember just getting messed up.
Yeah.
But for some reason, like I was outside and my body was steaming and I felt like this fire, and I just cried, and I couldn't control how much I was crying. But I wasn't crying because I basically got my butt kicked.
It was a release.
Yeah, it was a release. Like I had no clue what I was doing. My stance was ugly. Everything was ugly. I'm like 17 years old learning a new sport. I have no clue what I'm doing. I'm like actually kind of embarrassed because my butt's way out and I'm like this because I'm so tall.
Yeah.
I'm trying to figure it out. And I just remember after that moment, I cried. I went home. I love burgers, and that's all I would eat every day at my group home.
Burgers are good. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like
so
burgers.
I made a burger. I showered, and I knocked. That was like I think the first time in years I slept. Like what I mean slept, like knowing that I have peace, like peace, wholeheartly. Knocked out, mouth open, drooling. I had peace in my life. And I just remember going back to the point that like I blink my eyes and I'm at CIF for California, which is sectionals. And I hated it though because it's embarrassing because it's in the newspaper. But I got second, 2.5 months of wrestling. I got second at CIF, but I was winning, but got disqualified for choking her out because I got pissed. I got frustrated. And the way they put it in there, I wonder if I can find it. They were like, for illegal chokehold or something like that.
Oh,
it was like illegal hold, choke, something. But it was because I was just tired of it, and I just like was choking her out. I was like, just lay down.
Yeah, you didn't have the arm. Just go to sleep.
Go to sleep.
Go to sleep.
So yeah, and I just from there my career took off. Like they were like, this girl only wrestled for 2 months, barely knows how to shoot.
Stance is horrible.
Falls
over her skis for feet, you know. I have small feet, so I have small feet, so anybody standing next to me has big feet. But so that's interesting that, you know, especially you mentioning that you slept well, you felt I would say exhausted. You still ate. I mean, so were you sore the next day? How did that feel though? Were you sore?
Oh, I was sore.
You're sore.
That was the first time I actually worked out because I would run on the treadmill, but running is different from wrestling.
Way different.
I was born with a six-pack. I have never, had to like work on core. So my six-pack everyone saw was a front. That's genetic. So I actually had to be core for the first time. I didn't know my back was hurting. Like I was going through it, but I loved it. It was wrestling gave me a sense of purpose, and it saved my life. Like I love it when I hear wrestlers say that because I'm like, I feel it, I know it, because it saved my life too. It literally saved me. If I didn't go to the practice that day, I would have definitely fell into the statistics of girls in foster care. Like I probably would have got pregnant and been working. No offense to people working at McDonald's. I love McDonald's, but I would have had a fast food job.
It's not your ideal place though. It's not something you look for. No,
you went from dreaming as a little kid of being an Olympian to being so broken inside that you don't even think you deserve to even have a chance to accidentally going into something that gives you that chance again.
Well, I'm glad the wrestling net caught you because it's fun watching you wrestle. It's kind of funny that you talked about how 2 months after you're already in like a big stage in California, because that's one state tournament. There's there's no division 2, 3. You're wrestling everybody. So as you was that your freshman year was when you first found it? What year was that?
My junior year.
year.
I was 17
Holy
years old.
cow. Okay. Wow.
Yeah.
So what type of, because you were exposed so late, what type of did you wind up ever getting outside of California for wrestling ever before you got out of high school?
Couldn't afford it.
Right.
Wait, it
I
was my
didn't know
sophomore
if,
year. Wait, it was my sophomore year, and I
okay.
wrestled. So I basically wrestled 2 months sophomore year, 2 months, just 2 months of wrestling, and then 3 months junior year, and then a month my senior year, and then went to state. So
Okay.
before I went to college, I only had about not even close to half a year, maybe a half a year of experience under my belt. I was able to go to one tournament, like one camp in VD,
Yeah.
Marcy, which is, my sponsor with Tide Mercury. I love her.
Yep.
Basically because I got lucky, but that was it. Like I couldn't afford a Fargo.
Okay.
I didn't afford all of those things because that came out of my pocket. Like that
Right.
stuff is stuff that, I had to like find extra resources for because I didn't have parents,
Yeah.
And it just the support system. So like my dad that I talked about, like through all of that stuff I went through.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
he was constantly like, "Hey, you want to have dinner? Hey, you want to have dinner?" I'm like, no, I don't want to talk to anyone. No. And he stayed in my life since I was 15. He's known me since I was 12, but
Okay.
he knew I was being abused because he would be like, "Why are you running with a sweater on?" I was running with a sweater on because I had these big welts on my.
You were hiding stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, hiding stuff. So it's like, and I knew he would have to report, and that wouldn't help because when social workers come, and if they don't take you away and it comes up with the excuse, just get beat down even more. So it's just like, nah, I'm good. I'm cold. 101-degree weather running in a sweater. Like,
oh my God.
Yeah, that was, so he knew what was going on. He wasn't stupid, but he stayed in my life. And I finally let him in around that time. I found wrestling, and I'm so glad I did because he's my biggest cheerleader. He's
That's cool.
so funny. He's such a great person. I feel like I was just meant to be his daughter because of the way he is with me, and everything. He's funny because he'll call me the homeless, like taking the homeless, but that's his way of saying that, like, you're my daughter,
Yeah.
and doing things. I don't think you can be soft and be in the military. So
Probably
especially
not.
He served like 20 years, like not in these days, but like
Right.
90s. Like I don't think you can be very.
Yeah. I don't know too many, and doesn't matter what gender it is. I don't know too many soft people from the military at all. They're all pretty grizzled and been turned by the military itself. But so it's an interesting dynamic that you have then, because you're athletic, obviously. I mean, from running and then being able to do what you were doing in wrestling already. How did college happen? Like, where was it? Just because of California? I mean, because I'm from Wisconsin, so it's not like we had, I graduated in 1997, so it's not like we had a ton of soccer people running around and scouting. You guys you had social media and things out there. Was that a big help? Like, how did you kind of get contacted by schools to get interested in being able to compete in college?
I think for women's wrestling, and shout out to all those coaches back in the day that did that hard recruiting. It's not how it is now, where you can slide in the DMs and do all of that. It was more like you had to show up at the state tournament. So like at that time, I had offers from McKendree when Sam was the coach.
Ooh,
King, Menlo, which I ended up going to. And then a couple others that I can't remember, but I know McKendree, King, and Menlo were my top three because they both. Well, Menlo wasn't good then, but it was in California.
Yeah.
And then King was known for being good because that's when Forrest went there. That was when Allie Reagan was there. That was when Sarah Hildebrandt, I think, was also there. Like that's where all like the elite people you hear about now are. Were at King, and then McKendree was the same thing. You had like the best of the best there, and then Sam was a good coach. So it was kind of just like they showed up at the state tournaments and they saw how raw I was. And then when it was always talk, they were like, again, that sense of presence, they were like, that girl only been wrestling like a couple months and she's doing that. It was like just the talk. And I can hear it too myself. And then for me, it would kind of make me nervous, but then kind of like feel me more of like, I need to prove I belong here kind of thing.
Sure.
And, you know, that got their attention, and I'm really blessed and grateful for that. I end up picking Menlo because one, the assistant coach there, Marcus Randolph, is amazing.
Mm-hmm.
He would go over and beyond when he recruited. I lived in SoCal. I was homeless at the time. I left my foster home because of some complications, and I just was done with foster home. So I was just like collecting the paycheck from the state and trying to figure out where to live. But that was hard because of all the stuff. Like, people don't want a teenager in their house. So like I was trying to figure that out, and then I got myself in a situation where I was just like getting kind of bullied out of money, and I was like, no, forget this. I'd rather live on the streets than, you know, deal with this. And then my dad was finally like, when are you gonna just let me help you? So then I moved in with him during the summer to get ready for college, and Marcus called my social worker every week. How's Precious? How's she doing? What's she doing? How's she doing? How's she doing?
Wow.
Joey Brang was the head coach of Menlo at the time, and he was the same way. Like, how are you doing, kid? Like, I was already kid before they even met me. Like I felt like they loved me before they even knew me. Like, how are you doing, kid? Like, do this and that. Like, you should do this. And then they found out immediately when they found out that I, you know, moved in with. Before my dad was my dad, he was just like a guardian. That moved in guardian because I was homeless. Literally the next a couple days, not even like more than 48 hours. They're like, hey, if you're interested in going here, we got you cleared to be here during the summer for free. We'll feed you. You can help out with camps. You can get ahead of wrestling and do those things. And I was like, it was like crazy God's timing and everything he did. And it was also just like a thing of going through that. It was just like the other schools, like they were like number, I want to say 15, 18. They just were down. And and he painted this picture of like, we are building a team that wants to fight their way to the top, that want to show people that, you know, that they can do it. My dream is to be to coach a national championship team, and I want athletes that believe. And that was just a different conversation than I had with the other programs. Like the King coach was kind of just like reached out to me, nothing more than that. Cause, you know, he had the top athletes. So I was just another top athlete that, you know, would have been added. I don't even know if he would even remember, you know, at that point. And no, I didn't take offense to it because I understood that.
He was just that stacked. Yeah. Right.
Yeah. It's just that stacked. That would have just been another body. And for McKendree, Sam was awesome. He checked in on me, but it just wasn't prevalent as what Menlo was doing. So I packed my bag and was like, I'm going to Menlo, sign with Menlo. I was like, I'm going to Menlo. I know I'm going to be a national champ. I know I'm going to be the best, and I'm going to go there. Like, this is what you want. You got me.
Yeah.
And then a weekend, I actually send you this too. I have a picture, screenshot, because I always read it when I feel down. I remember they, for some reason, didn't think that, they thought that I had some level of wrestling knowledge. So when we got there, Iman Kazim was a 155. They're All-American, one of the best wrestlers on the team at the time. And she's a good friend of mine's now. And she also was on the senior national team. Before she broke her leg, and it was just time for her to, you know, give up wrestling. But they were like, you can wrestle Iman, go and just get trashed by her. And then like, they were like, do you even know how to shoot? And I was like, huh? So they had me shoot, and I'm embarrassed myself. And I'm like, okay, I don't like this. My pride started getting in the way, and I was just getting taken down. I couldn't do anything. I was like, why am I here? Like, I'm in college, and I don't know how to shoot. I don't know what I'm doing. Like, I was like, I'm packing my bags. I'm going home. Like, I was serious. I was going home. I was packing my stuff, and then I get this text, and it's a picture of Marcus and Joey what thumbs up. And this is my memory of the message. It'll probably be different when I show you, but it was basically saying that, like, I felt that it was like your family. We believe in you. Like, we're gonna help you and help you accomplish your dreams. You're gonna be, Olympian.
That's pretty cool.
You're gonna do these things. And I saw that text and I just sat there and I was like, what am I doing? Like, I keep running away from my problems. Like, I did that so many times, and then I indulged in things that filled the void momentarily. And that's like the first thing that came to my head. I was like, I'm gonna smoke some weed and then go home. Like, that's what I'm gonna do. And I grew up in Cali, so the negative connotation of weed is not what it is when I came here to
not even close. Yeah.
Midwest, yeah. Which is weird because they smoke a bunch of cigarettes here, and it's back home. We're like, oh, you're doing tobacco? Like, what? Like, it makes
that's disgusting.
They're a hypocrite. They're both drugs. They both mess you up. Like, it's super hypocritical. But that's a conversation for
yeah, right. That's totally a whole other podcast.
Yeah, I'm totally clean now. And in college, the reason why I felt that is because that's how I suppressed my emotions and everything. But when I went to college, we were in the drug testing pool, so I couldn't do that.
Yeah.
So I was sober for the first time since I was 12 years old. I was sober from weed for like a month because I was scared of popping and then losing the opportunity.
Yeah.
And that's another reason why wrestling saved my life, because it supplemented weed. Like, I don't need weed. I don't. I'm completely sober when I wrestle. Like, and I couldn't have been more happier. It couldn't have put me in a better situation at that time in my youth. And yeah, I was like, okay, I'm gonna show back up. Like, I'm tired of like I was tired of basically letting everything else win and determining who I'm gonna be. And I just practiced extra. So that's where the extra came in. I was in the room, I was working hard, I was, every time, even though I might have lost, I was challenging for the varsity spot. I lost the varsity spot the first time and I was pissed. So then I was like working out even harder. And then I was a freshman varsity after 2 months into season. And then I started making my mark from there and climbing from there, and then it's history.
You were pretty well versed in diversity and, a rough situation where we'll just say that you physically grew instantly, but you can tell that you had actually like growth spurts of mentality without having to go through. You were 5'8" in middle school. I mean, seriously, but you were able to have those leaps and bounds mentally, and so as you're wrestling and you had these realizations that you're like, like you said, I'm constantly running away from these things. Were you finding yourself a little more I guess not overwhelmed, but kind of just flushed with everything from the past that culminated to that moment of just stop? Did you feel like a weight off your shoulders when you realized you can do whatever you wanted to do? You just needed to put your mind to it and laser focus on it. Did you think you were making excuses, or what do you think you were running from?
I was running from fear of being someone, fear of, being successful. Like, it sounds weird, right? You want to be someone, you want to do something, but when it comes time to do it, it's fearful. Like, for me, it was at that point that like this was going to be a little bit harder than I thought. And like, who am I? A girl from, born in LA, grew up in Lancaster, California, the desert. And what makes my life so significant where I'm actually going to, live those things. And for some reason, I took every challenge as an actual failure, like of telling me, like, face, like, you don't belong here. And I was so used to that, because you got to think about it. Like, in my household, it wasn't like lovey-dovey, all that. Like, my mom loved us. We were her whole world. I know we are. Even if we don't talk today, like, she loves us. We're part of her. Like, we're all she had. She raised us 7 kids on her own.
Wow.
Yeah, and I got that strength from her, that stubbornness from her, that fight from her. I just didn't know where to put it, where to let it go. I just knew that I wanted to be better than what I was. I wanted to be better than the person that I was. And like, I would like stop making excuses to myself. Like,
Yeah.
I was sexually abused, so it's okay that I'm like being promiscuous with guys and getting self-value through them because it's easy. You know, I was physically abused, so it's okay that I'm smoking pot when I get triggered by something or do something. Like, you know, like I think, just spiritually done with making excuses for that because I was watching me give my life away.
Sure.
And then that moment when I got that text, I took that as a good omen. Like, you can do this. You just got to choose to do this. And don't get me wrong, they weren't just babying me. That text was like, hey,
Right.
you're there.
Yeah.
You're right there. Like, like you can, you know, not do it or you can do it. And that text honestly saved my life too. Like, it's little moments in my life where it's just like, boom, wrestling saved my life. And then it brought me to Menlo. And then it brought me Joey. It brought me Marcus, brought me Kendra, and then brought me my teammates. And then it saved me there. And then it brought me my closest friends, you know, and the sport's just beautiful because even when you think you got it down, you don't got it down.
You don't got it. Nope, smacks you in the face again.
Yeah,
smacks you in the face. Literally. So you find yourself you're having a realization. I would say a growth moment, in the smoke clears, for lack of a better term, no pun intended, but the smoke clears and you have a better visual of the direction you're going in now. Where do you start? Where were the successions, I guess, on the mat for you then once that happened? When did you notice a corner being turned?
Yeah, it was just, oh, Scotty, here's this food. It was crazy. Yeah, I just knew I was working hard in there. Everyone that was around me. I don't know the rest of my teammates. They're competitive as me. So if they watch this podcast, my best friend probably call me or some other friends and be like, "You are not working harder than me." but in
nice.
my head, in my head, I was working harder than everyone. Like, I actually struggle with having wrestling partners. They would have to wrestle Marcus. So shout out to Marcus because I would my motive was to break everyone I wrestled, like break the practice room. Because then I knew if I was breaking them, then I was breaking myself. And then pretty soon it got pretty easy of breaking others in the practice room. And then my tolerance went up. So then wrestling with Marcus was like that way of like, keep going.
Yeah.
And I started dominating. Like, I was making mistakes. Like, I was up for the national title and lost to Diamond. Really my sister, like, you know, lost to Diamond because I decided to shoot and leave my arm up. Like, if you watch a lot of my matches, I'm losing for dumb stuff. I'm losing because you can tell that lack of kind of like discipline that you would get when you started early, or just when things are paid more attention to and explained. Because when you're in the college room, it's like go, 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 go. And my coach was smart. Like, he knew, because he was a physical, I think he's a physical. Sorry, Joey, if I messed this up. He's a physical trainer. If he's not, then in my head, he's a physical trainer. He did something like that. And he knew the way to build athletes is muscle memory. So 45 minutes, the first
conditioning.
Of conditioning and the same repetition moves that lead wrestling moves. And we're known for offense. Like, Menlo, when I was there from 2016 to 2019, before the COVID thing happened, you knew if you got a Menlo girl, we're shooting. And why? Because we shot at least 250 times in that 45 minutes before we went over technique. Like, we were an offensive team. And, you know, and I felt that, I still embody that, and do those things. So yeah, that's kind of like what it was for me when I knew I was turning that corner, because then matches just started going. And then I started to, like, you know, he had this thing where we always had to bounce. Ready to go up. And if you weren't, then it was no, you weren't actually.
Yeah.
Joey is the man. You do it or you're not there. Like,
Yeah.
no choice. Like, and I think that's what made our team so special, the 2016 to 2019 team, because we all had our pains that we went through. Like, my story is one of many other unique stories of the girls on the team, and you can see the way they recruited, because 3 of us are on the senior national team and still going. So Marilyn Garcia, Minlo, Solon Piercy, Minlo Num, the same year as me, and then not even saying Yvonne Evian before she tore her ACL, and Iman and Tiana and a couple others. Like,
it sounds like they were a good judge of character. You know, like
100%.
they could tell it didn't matter. They could just see the fight in the dog. You know, it's interesting that you had people around you that were like that just stuck. You know, like it's a handful, literally, of folks that really kind of either they gravitated towards you for some reason. I'm more of a universe kind of guy, and that's just where I roam. But it seems like it was a gravitational type of thing with you to these people, because it seems like your track coach was kind of the same guy. You know, he was really good with character. It wasn't something that he was like trying to find a star athlete to put on his team. He saw character in someone that was able to persevere through a lot of stuff and kind of keep that focus. So Joey and crew seem to have their heads on straight when it comes to knowing their shit and putting people to the test and putting them to work. And talking about a team that you named about 4 individuals that kind of had the same situation. Did you find yourself closer, I guess, than not just as friends, but kind of connected with them a little bit more as a team? And that kind of, was that what drove you guys as a team as well?
Yes, I would say the starters of the team, no, the rest of the team, but it was the starters that did it.
Yeah.
But we couldn't have, that's one thing my coach was so, why I approached the senior national team. He's back from eating. Why I approach the senior national team the way I do, is because the way he trained our brains. He basically raised me in wrestling. Joey raised me in wrestling, and it was, even though we were the starters and we got it done, we couldn't have did it without our teammates. That was our partners. They gave us everything that they had. So even though the starter team is the one that got it done, their spirits were in us. If I didn't have them to deal with my shit, like trying to break them, like, how would you feel if I'm like, I'm going to break you?
Mm-hmm.
You're like, what?
Yeah.
Like,
come on.
If you knew,
right.
Yeah, like, come on now, that's rude. But like that was my demeanor. But them still wanting to like push me because they believed in me too. Like, he always told, as much as he was like, because this is what it's kind of hard for me now as a coach. Like, I'm learning to be better. And then like just watching others, Joey was like, you're going to win. You're going to win. You're going to win. You can only lose by 1 point. You're going to win. It was never no choice of, ooh, if I'm going to win. Like, the Minlo girls, the varsity team that I was a part of, was, we all shared the same pressure of like, we have no choice. Like, we're going to go out there and win. And that was the same thing in our brain. Like, we're not going to lose. So like, if you like, people go back and watch us or just look at our stats and stuff, it showed. It's the reason why we won 2 back-to-back national championships, right? Because we had that. And I don't want to say we got it by landslide. No, we won the WCWA one before they did all this splitting stuff. We won that by 0.5 or 1 point, one of the two. And it took the grit out of all of us. Like, you got to win, you got to win, you got to get a pin, you got to get a tech, you bet not get pinned. So basically knowing that, hey, you're going to lose, but just don't get pinned.
Right.
But that's how we were raised with him. And we knew what his bluntness was. He knew it was care, but at the end of the day, he had dreams too. That was our dreams. And his, fuel and who he was as a competitor, fueled us as women. And not one time did he let us bow our head, telling us like, you're going to, like, you need to win. Like, you have no choice, you're going to win. And that's how we did the stats. Was, you are capable. You're going to do it. Keep your head high. Be that person.
Yeah.
And it's no choice. And don't get me wrong. I don't think it was one time when he said, you need to win, you need to win. That's how good our starters were, that we lost. So I don't know what that feels like, to like not have done that.
Yeah.
But even if it was a close match, as hard as our coach was on us, he was also the most loving with us, and so was Randolph, and so was our team mom Kendra and Tristan, who's not live, traitor. Just joking, but we just like we were dysfunctional sisters, but we loved each other because their story wasn't like mine, but they all had their pains in other different ways,
Sure.
and we mended through that, and we believed in each other through that, and we lived that, and it shows because we got those national championships rings, and honestly, like Menlo now still rides off of that. They're known for being the best because of that hard work that we did, and they're still doing good and, adding on to that. But like, it feels good to be basically brings prodigy kids, because we are like,
Nice.
Went from the team being ranked number 20. I had to look that up. I think we were ranked low. We were low.
Mm-hmm.
Ranked low to 3 years later, 2-time national champs, winning it back to back. Like it shows how he recruited, how him and Randolph recruited, but it also shows how he believed in us, what he did for us. And I'm not saying he was perfect. I'm saying we were perfect. We were dysfunctional, but we had one rule: is we loved each other. We had always had team retreats. That was our favorite time. And our team was tight with the guys. Like, one of my best friends was a national champ at Menlo, Anthony Orozco, and
Nice.
going to MMA right now. But it was just like that. And I have a bunch of brothers that were on the team. Like, the men were close to us too. Like, both coaches, Joey Martinez too. Enough, girl. I have another hairless cat that's very vocal. They made sure that we were just all together in a unit. So it was Menlo versus everybody. If we were acorns, or I think we were oak tree. Not the best mascot, but there was the mighty oaks against everybody else. So it was just like
that's hey. You know what? Honestly, if you got the team and the team makes it work, it doesn't matter what the mascot is. It just feels good to have that type of, because I mean, it sounds like, for a long time you're looking for something to belong, and it sounds like this was that place that really kind of brought that together for you. And did you feel like you were kind of starting to, like, maybe just starting to put some of the stuff in the past with all the things that were happening that were good now? I mean, you guys are winning championships. You guys are, some of the matches you put behind you, were you winning a lot? Were you getting some of the matches that you were looking for and then just completely demolishing people? How was that going in college for you, competition wise?
After that first rough bump, my freshman year, I didn't lose. I only lost big match. Still alive for my story right now. I just lose big matches. Like the finals match or freaking semis match. The past 2 years is losing. Like, I'm a 3-time U.S. Open national champ. Yes. I could have been a 5-time, but lost both to die.
So I want to ask you about that. Do you kind of feel, because I mean, I can point out to several people that we've seen this year, just in our state alone, that you see them killing it, right? And you're like, holy shit, they're gonna explode through. But then something happens. Is it a mental thing? What do you feel like is happening when some of those matches go that way?
It's playing chess, like at that level. And that's why I was saying, like, Joey, I owe him so much. Like, I remember when I won my first US Open, I gave him the thing because it wouldn't have started without him, but like, the way I look at things is like, I don't care who you are, you're not better than me as a human. Like, I'm a good human, you're a great human, we're equals. It's just that you're better at playing chess than me. When I'm looking at matches, close matches, like even when you watch Jordan Burroughs against Kyle Dake, it wasn't that Jordan's not the best. He's the freaking GOAT. Know? Right. It was just that he lost that chess match each time with the chess wrap from the double. Mm-hmm. Yep. It's like certain positions and certain things that cost you matches, and that's all it is. It has nothing to do with your capabilities or who you are. Sure. Yep. It's just chess matches, and that's what I have learned, and that's what I learned from Joey is like, is nothing to do with your capabilities. And just because you work hard does not mean you're going to win. Just because you're killing it doesn't mean you're going to win. It just means that it was your day that day and you had a great practice.
Very true.
Just because I had a crappy practice does not mean I'm not going to lose. It just means it's not my day. You know, if I lose doesn't mean that I'm not going to be the Olympian. It just means that, are you going to beat me again? Or if I lose to you 5 times, doesn't mean that the next time I wrestle you, I'm going to lose to you again. It's just that you keep beating me in that chess match, because whatever it is, whatever it is for me and my muscle memory, I'm just getting caught in that same position over and over again. And I feel like that's the same thing for people that are killing it, is we're too busy being hard on ourselves on the mental and what we're doing and feeling good, that we're forgetting that, like, we just take the mental part out of it and we just look at our habits and the way our muscles are moving. Like, if someone collar ties me and, gets me in, this is what me and my coach Kevin Black is working on, and my first reaction is just to grab the elbow, but I'm not doing any motion to it. That's my same motor function every time, that I'm going to get the same aspect every time. But a lot of times people focus on, like, if they're pushing forward or if they're, moving sideways. But the whole time you're doing all of this and this is just sitting here, this is the problem,
Yeah.
So it's kind of like, that's the way I think. And that's what I see a lot when I'm looking at other people that are competing at a high level as me, or even my girls I coach now at Augsburg, when we're looking at tape with the head coach, Allie, is like, that's what I see. I'm good at breaking down tape because I see those, like, motor functions of what's going on. And I think mental just makes it worse, because then it distracts you. So I think mental is also a key, but mental is used the opposite way. I think most people think about it. It's used in the way to distracting you from seeing what you should actually see. So your mental is like those little things for horses.
Blinders.
Right? So they don't freak out. Yeah, those blinders are blocking you from actually seeing what's actually wrong. So then the whole picture. So you just step in the same thing over and over. So you could be on fire with someone else that for some reason hanging on their elbow is not a trigger to them to move it. So of course you're gonna freaking wreck them, but you might wrestle someone else that, like, their elbow is a setup. Like, like, that's the part where it gets tricky with wrestling, because it's so many different styles, that the thing that's probably making you lose, where it costs the most, is not showing up when you're freaking, on fire with someone else. So agreed. That's just my 2 cents in it. That's how I think about it. Necessarily, because I lived through it, man. I was not a national champ. This is, like, my life has been butt backwards. I was not a national champ in college for WCWAs. I was a runner-up 2 times. The year I was going to win it, right the day before we were going to compete, thank you, COVID, took our nationals away. So, and then we competed the whole year. So they're like, sorry, you have nothing. Basically, I end up winning. Again, I do things backwards for some reason. My life is backwards. I won the U.S. Open as a junior in college, and then won it again my senior year.
2019, right? Was that 2019? Yeah.
Won it again. It was number 2 in the country.
Yeah.
But didn't win nationals because it got taken away, but wasn't a national champ. So I was a national champ for the United States, but not for, for college.
Dirty COVID.
Dirty COVID. Took away from me.
Dirty COVID.
I didn't even get a year eligibility back for that either. So that was
it's kind of weird how that worked out between, I want to say, like, almost all sports. So I'm not I don't get into the stats and numbers of things as far as, like, this rule consists of this, and I don't get into the finer details until it probably pisses me off and I start looking into the rule.
Yeah.
So, I'm that guy. But when it came down to COVID, like, I was still kind of in the dark with how, when it first came out, they're like, well, they gain a year of eligibility. I'm like, well, how is everybody getting a year of eligibility? Like, what's going on with here's free, here's another year of school, have fun, like, what is going on? So I didn't really kind of jive with it. I think we were so engulfed in getting Liam around to tournaments at that time, because we were taking Michigan, I mean, everywhere. And it was like the last one, and I was trying to get them in every tournament I could because I didn't know when they were going to not have tournaments anymore. So we were all over. I didn't pay attention to what COVID was giving, but I was just like, oh, sweet. So we're going to see this person wrestle again. We'll see this person wrestle again. That's all I really paid attention to. But as you started kind of navigating through your college years, obviously you're going to continue. You liked wrestling. So you just mentioned a couple of the US Opens and World Team Trials and things you went through. Were you able to have you been able to broaden your horizons a little bit and be able to get overseas and do some training?
Yeah. So 2019 was just a great start for me.
Mm-hmm.
I was the world team member for U23s.
Yep.
And I was ranked number 2 in the country then, and all of that. So just in that year, I went to Japan, I went to Canada, I went to Germany, I went to Poland,
Nice.
other places, and then kind of opened up. That was the first time I ever traveled out of the country, Canada.
Yeah.
And then from there, when COVID hit, we had that little pause. I ended up moving here I moved to Wisconsin first, and I trained with Kevin Black and Victory, and I still train there.
Yep.
But then I just moved to Minnesota because I got married. Then once COVID's lightened up, then I went to Ukraine, and then so I've been all over.
Nice.
I came back from Paris 2-3 weeks ago.
Cool.
I've been able to travel all over the world, which is insane. Good. The different cultures and everything that I got to experience, and have people embrace me and teach me things. And
well, you're in good hands. I mean, Kevin Black is a staple in Wisconsin wrestling, so it's not like we don't know who that dude is at all.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, we know Kevin Black here. That's for sure. So with some of the experiences you've had, now you're coaching, right? Mm-hmm. Not done competing yet, right? You're not done competing yet. Okay, good. I know you just got back, but I didn't know if maybe you're like, yeah, I like coaching, and it's not going to say anything yet. You're going to kind of tuck it under your wing and not go back into competition. Yeah. I like watching you wrestle. It's fun to watch you wrestle. I mean, the highlights that I found were just a couple that I wanted to use because unfortunately I can't have a 5-minute reel and put it out there. But I just found the things that I liked and kind of put them out there. But when you are obviously you've been through a lot, so the things that you bring to a coaching table, I would think are a little more dynamic than most coaches. So when you are able to kind of sit down with right now, since you're kind of fresh to the coaching game, right? It's your first year. So have you been able to be able to sit someone down and be like, hey, it's fine. Let me tell you a story about what you can actually go through and find yourself in a hole and still find your way out. Have you been able to have conversations like that yet in just a short time?
Yeah, it's a little different though. My girls can tell you it's a little different sometimes. Yeah. P, seriously, but this is my second year. The first year was with Jake Short, which was awesome, and this year you heard of Allie Bernard? She was our Olympian for 2012 and 2008, and it's been a dream working under her too. She is so funny and awesome, man. She's just incredible. I'm excited to see as a head coach how she's gonna transform Augsburg. It's gonna be amazing.
It's awesome.
But, me, I'm more if you want to go get it, I kind of carry the same way I do with myself and how my coach was with me. That's how I am, and I won't change. And I feel like my girls respect that because it's if they're gonna whine to me about something, but I literally see how they drill and it was trash, don't talk to me about it. What the hell? That's not my problem. When you start actually working, then we can start talking, But
it's a good perspective, yeah.
When they are working hard and they are getting themselves into situations where our girls work hard, they've been through a lot. The Augsburg program been through a lot. We had some greedy people in that program that just sucked the life out of that program and then left it and is still trying to drag that program down. And it's disheartening, but like you said, you believe in the universe. I believe in universe and God, and it's the things you do and the energy you carry around is going to come back and it's going to surround your life. So
it does.
I keep my head held up high because it's you can throw everything you can and keep that dark light towards us, but we can keep shining and dim out that light, but that light is going to suck up your world, you know, like be in the darkness for yourself. Everything you do does come back to you. I believe in it. So the point of that was just like, I seen those girls go through so much and I see how much they struggle. So like, I am invested on just like picking apart video, picking apart their drilling. Like, hey, you are doing this because of this, and you're doing this because of this. Redo that, redo that. Like, they'll tell you all day that like. And there's another thing is when we do hard workouts, we have a great assistant coach, Chad Barchfield, and he's from Wisconsin, I think. But he's awesome and he does everything with the girls. So like our room is different because you have coaches in the room. You have a head coach that's a woman that was a 2-time Olympian. And then you have a assistant coach that's striving to be Olympian and still, you know, high ranked in the country. You have a assistant coach that's a male, which you kind of don't see assistant coach that's a male for women. Like a third and not the
There's a couple, but it's not common. It's not common.
But love his position and never oversteps.
Yeah.
Right. Kind of treats me like a princess. And like always, he goes Barchi goes over and beyond for us as a team. And we're so blessed to like have him. But the point of that is like I'm able to like, you know, do those things as a coach. And then you have Allie who has all that wisdom and been there and done that can uplift those girls. She's more of the like, hey, I've been here. You think this is so important right now, and it's not. Like you can have this all day and you can do this all day, or you can be happy. Yeah. And that's how she is. If you ever met her, she's just a happy, like I bet you 2 sentences into a conversation you're laughing with her. That's the kind of person she is.
Gotta get her on the show, that's for sure.
Yeah,
definitely love to get her on. So you sounds like you're pretty comfortable with where you're at, and it sounds like it's a good environment. And as far as the upcoming season, what you kind of talked about it a little bit, but like, what do you guys have coming that's on the pipeline? Do you have any girls that are competing right now that are that are going overseas or anywhere at that point? I mean, how many kids are still competing right now?
So for Augsburg, we had a lot of seniors. One of our seniors that left actually went to Iowa. Okay. Marlon, but she did her 4 years and then wanted to do her master's program there. But our last year's team, a lot of those girls on the high level, Brooklyn Hayes, Kay Lang, Marlon Dede, gosh, I hate that I'm missing Nina Makem, who's still at Augsburg. Who's a freaking beast, and she's went up 2 weight classes. So,
really,
dude? Some things people don't know about this girl is she's the most dedicated wrestler I have ever seen, and I'm so invested in her sometimes because I see myself in her. I see myself in her so much when it comes to like working hard, and then something happened and falling short. Like if you see that girl and how she wrestles and how she carries herself and what she does, like everyone that meets her or wrestle her, like I have girls time come up and be like, oh my God, I need her lifting program. And it's like, that's all her.
That's awesome.
Man. And
I've seen some highlights. She looks tough, man.
Dude,
she definitely looks tough.
Yeah, she's insane. And she just got her citizenship because her family's from Cameroon. She's been here since 11-8, but that's just like a huge thing. She finally got to like, you know, do those things so she can compete, because you didn't see her in the past because she couldn't compete for the U.S. because of that. Sure. And she's one of our current wrestling stars at our school right now that you'll see at U23's go try out for that. When she qualifies for Olympic trials, she'll also be there for that with me at Olympic trials. We have some other girls that are really good and talented. They're just working on, you know, learning that, like those level jumps. And Autumn Flanagan is one of those people. She's really just positive. She was puking and smiling. She was wrestling a match and she was puking, but she still found a way to smile.
Wrestling. Gotta love wrestlers, puking, man.
I'm out, bro. I'm out. But that's just like 2 of many of the girls that we have that, you know, are just a bright light on the team. And then the ones that graduated or left because of the transition of the program when Jake Short left. It was just, it's just amazing how this program's only 5 years old and it already had 4 national champs.
Well, I follow you guys on Instagram and stuff like that, so I do get to see a lot of the progress and the things that are going on. I mean, Augsburg itself has a name, so I mean, right away, you can only expect to have top notch coaching and especially the history that's at that school itself. I mean, I'm sure they had they'll get their shit together once everything gets down to normal. But was the one thing that I definitely wanted to ask about is what are your plans right now for what's coming up with competitions? What do you have coming up?
I am gonna just be at my gym with Kevin and get ready for Olympic trials.
Okay.
I am going to just focus on putting my best foot forward because my other dream other than wrestling was to be a mom, and I'm at that point in my life where if I want to take a break and then continue to wrestle, this year just feels like it's the year to take a break and have a baby after this Olympic run, because then I can come back in 2025 at Bill Farrell, 3 months postpartum, and wrestle and qualify and do those things, and I'll have that 2-year hurrah.
Nice.
Whilst being able to live my dream of also being a mom. It will help to transition out of the sport easier than, retiring 2028 with no kid and then getting pregnant. I don't think I can do that.
That's tough. It's tough. And I'll never try to talk anything about when it comes to being pregnant, because you guys, sorry, that is not something that I would ever want to go through. I don't care what guys say about passing stones. That's where you guys have us, is on childbirth. So that's just where that is. So, but I'm really excited to see what happens with you. I know we're going to be going out to Vegas for World Team for Liam. He's crazy. We got state going on. My voice is half gone. So like I've said yes a couple times, like yes, and we just got done with sectionals and we've been screaming our lungs out for the past couple days. So. But we got to see you wrestle a little bit. I think last night you were out in Vegas this year, I believe, right?
Yeah.
Yep. But I think I saw a match, 2 of you. It was good to finally see you wrestle like in person, not on a TV screen. So I always kind of get excited about that when I get to see so many athletes that I've gotten to see like over the years on TV. I'm like, yeah, right in front of me. This is the best shit ever. So I'm excited to see what you have in the future, whatever comes. You've been talking to us for quite some time, and we appreciate all the time that you've taken out. I'm going to talk to you for just a second afterwards. But is there anything that you want to plug at all before we end the show here?
I don't know. That's not pressure. I just say everyone's journey is unique, and I think something that I'm processing right now is not everyone's going to be a Jordan Burroughs, and not everyone's going to have this crazy path of like boom, 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 boom.
Yeah.
That's kind of what you hear. Everyone's going to have a path that's different. It's just that you have to be proud of that, and then you will find your peace through it. I'm excited to watch women's wrestling grow, and just hope that they stay humble, though. I am been a little with all the stuff that's going on right now, but I'm pretty sure people that feel it know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Other than that,
right.
Like, I'm appreciative for people like Allie Bernard and Sarah McMahon and Marcy, who, went through all of the things they did to make it possible for us, Clarissa, for us to be able to wrestle and then have the benefits that I had when I wrestled. And I'm glad that I was being able to be a stepping stone to give those girls what they have now. And I'm hoping that they are, looking to themselves to do the same thing to build for the next generation.
Augsburg's in good hands. That's for sure. Augsburg's in good hands. So everybody, this has been Precious Wieser. I appreciate your time. I'm just going to talk to you for a second once we're done here and kind of do it with everybody. But everybody, this has been another great episode of the Vision Quest podcast. Precious Wieser, appreciate it. We will be talking to you soon. So everybody, we're done. Peace.
That was perfect. You said peace when I said deuce. That was so nice. I don't think
All of our episodes are brought to you by Appleton Tattoo, located at 117 South Appleton Street in Appleton, Wisconsin, right off the main drag on College Avenue. You can't miss them. I've had some work done. I have a Celtic cross that covers my back that was done by Jason. We're not done yet. Jason Winans and crew, the artists that he have there, those guys are the best in the Fox Valley. They are definitely one to go to if it's something that you've just been kind of throwing around. They'll make you feel comfortable. It's a very clean environment, very nice crew, and very willing to get done whatever you need done when you need it done. You can message them on Facebook. I know they're on Facebook. You can give them a call at 920-604-8289 and get in touch with Jason Winans and crew at Appleton Tattoo, located again in Appleton, Wisconsin at 117 South Appleton Street, right in Appleton. Very flexible hours, great crew, clean environment again. I would not send you anywhere else except for these guys. Appleton Tattoo.